There's something strange that happens when you get older. You stop remembering things the way you used to. You don't always remember dates or what year something happened, but certain moments, they stay with you. The other day, for some reason, I was thinking about all the cars I owned over the years. After 70 years of living, there's been quite a few. Everything from $200 junkers that barely started in the winter to a few nicer cars later on. And the funny thing is, I've never been a car guy. I never cared about horsepower. I didn't polish the chrome on weekends. I never stood around arguing about engines. To me, cars were just tools, something to get you where you needed to go. And honestly, most of the time, they were a pain in the neck. Broken belts, dead batteries, rust. I remember lying on cold pavement, busting my knuckles open, trying to fix something you couldn't afford to pay someone else to repair. Grease all over my hands, sweating in the summer, freezing in the winter. No, I can't say I ever loved cars themselves. But thinking back now, I realize something. It wasn't the cars I loved. It was the life that happened inside them. That's what stays with me. I remember being young, finally getting a car. Nothing special. But suddenly the world felt bigger. Freedom. That's what a car meant back then. Freedom. You could pick up a girl and drive somewhere quiet, park near the water, watch the sunset. Maybe go to a drive-in movie with the speaker in the window. Back before everybody carried the world around in their pocket, you actually talked. You listened to music. You sat there in silence sometimes, and somehow that silence said everything. I remember my first real date with my wife. We didn't want that night to end. We sat in the back seat of that old Jeep, talking, laughing, kissing, not ever wanting to say goodbye. Funny how a car can hold a memory like that for 50 years. Then life changes and the cars change too. They get practical. Family cars, vans, vehicles with car seats and cracker crumbs in the back. I remember loading up the boys in that little pop-up camper that we hooked behind us, heading north. Coolers, sleeping bags, tents. Stopping at gas stations for cheap snacks and coffee. Back then I thought I was just driving somewhere. Now I realize those were the moments that were building our lives. I spent years driving to work in those vans too. Early mornings, loading tools before daylight. Battling traffic in those black vans during the summer heat, feeling like you were sitting inside an oven. But even those vans carried pieces of my life. They took me to jobs too, fed my family. On weekends, sometimes they became escape vehicles, little campers. It was a way to disappear for a while when life got too heavy. I had all kinds over the years, some terrible, some dependable. I leaned towards Japanese cars eventually. They seemed like they broke down less. By then, dependability mattered more than style. I guess the fanciest thing I ever owned was a Dodge Rampage. Half car, half pickup. I thought I was pretty sharp driving that thing, at least for a while. But now, at this age, I don't really remember the engines or the paint jobs or what year most of them were. I remember who was sitting beside me, the conversations, the laughter, the arguments, the music playing through cheap speakers, the feeling of heading somewhere without really knowing where life would end up. And that's what stays, not the car itself, just the life that happened inside it. And these days, I don't need much from a vehicle anymore. I don't care what it looks like. I just want it to be dependable. Something that gets me where I'm going and gets me back home. Because after all these years, I finally understand it's never about the car. It was about freedom, the people you loved, and the roads that you traveled together. Sometimes the things we remember most aren't the things themselves, but the life that happened